The city of HYF shined like a jewel across the night sky of the alien capital planet. Towering spires touched the clouds, glowing with silver lights. Across the galaxy, this world was seen as the center of power, the place where all great decisions were made. Inside its Grand Council Hall, hundreds of alien leaders gathered around a circular chamber. Their voices echoed, sharp and proud, as they argued about trade routes, border wars, and politics. No one spoke about humans. Not anymore. To them, humans were only stories told to children at night, tales whispered by old soldiers who claimed to have seen them long ago. Generations had passed since the last human was spotted. The galaxy had changed, wars had been fought, and empires had risen. The idea of humans was now a joke, a fading myth buried under centuries of history. An elder counselor, his skin dark and ridged like stone, leaned forward and tapped his staff against the floor. We must focus on the Drathian rebellion. Their fleets are spreading too far. If we do not crush them now, they will become dangerous. Others nodded, some hissed in agreement. The council hall buzzed with noise. Far above the chamber, inside the control tower, young officers monitored the skies. Their screens glowed with streams of data from distant sensors scattered across space. One of them, a junior named Vera, noticed something strange. A tiny flicker of static appeared on her screen. She frowned. The code did not match any known signature. Strange, she whispered. She adjusted the settings, expecting the flicker to vanish. Instead, it grew clearer, sharper. The signal repeated itself. A pattern. An ancient rhythm. Her hands shook as she brought it closer on the screen. Words appeared, words written in a language the galaxy had not seen for centuries. She felt her heart pound. This can't be real. The officer beside her glanced at the screen. His eyes widened. He whispered, almost afraid to speak. It's human. The word cut through the silence of the control tower like a blade. For a moment, no one breathed. Then laughter broke the tension. Other officers leaned over, shaking their heads. Human? Don't be ridiculous. Humans are legends. Ghosts. Nothing more. But the signal did not fade. Instead, it grew stronger, pulsing like a heartbeat. Vera turned pale. It's not a ghost. It's real. The transmission is locked to our frequencies. Someone out there knows us. Someone is calling us. The council chamber was soon interrupted. Alarms blared softly through the walls. A commander entered and bowed. Counselors, forgive the interruption. A signal has been detected on the outer rim. It bears markings of human origin. The chamber fell into chaos. Some laughed. Some shouted in anger. Others froze in disbelief. Impossible, one leader barked. Humans vanished before my ancestors were born. They were never real to begin with, another argued. Just bedtime stories. Yet the younger voices in the chamber whispered among themselves. They had studied fragments, broken records hidden deep in archives. Stories of humans building ships larger than planets. Stories of humans fighting wars so brutal entire empires fell. Stories of humans leaving, and never coming back. The elder counselor struck his staff again. Silence. His voice thundered. These stories are lies. Our galaxy is safe. Do not be fooled by children's tales. But the signal spoke again. Louder this time. Across every communication channel, across every screen. The same words repeated. A voice deep, old, and commanding. Words that no alien could mistake. We are coming. The counselors froze. The words were simple, but they carried weight, like thunder in a silent sky. Vera felt her skin crawl. The signal was moving closer. It was not some random ghost. It was traveling fast, through space, closing the distance. She whispered to herself, barely able to breathe. They're on their way. Her superior barked at her. Enough with your fear. Humans are extinct. But even he avoided looking at the screen. Deep down, he knew. The chamber tried to regain control. Leaders demanded action. Fleets were ordered to prepare. Scouts were sent to verify. But even as they shouted, a shadow spread across the sensors. Something vast was moving in the void, larger than anything their fleets had ever seen. At first, it looked like a storm. A wall of darkness rolling out of hyperspace. But then the shape took form, angular, sharp, and massive. A warship. Black as night. Silent. Waiting. Vera gasped. It's here. The first warship dwarfed the alien cruisers sent to intercept it. Its surface glowed with strange blue lines, pulsing like veins. Its engines lit up like suns, shaking the scanners with raw power. And behind it, more signals appeared. 1, 2, 3, then dozens. A fleet. The officers stared, unable to move. Someone in the council chamber screamed. It's true. The legends are true. The ancient elder tried to calm them, but his staff trembled in his hand. Even he could not deny what stood outside their skies. The black warship shifted. A deep hum echoed across every channel, forcing every system to listen. And then, the voice returned, louder, clearer, in perfect alien tongue. This is the Terran fleet. We have returned. Silence fell. Across the galaxy, fear spread like wildfire. Parents pulled their children close. Soldiers whispered prayers. Old veterans closed their eyes, remembering battles they swore were only dreams. The myths had walked out of the shadows. The stories were alive. And the galaxy understood one truth at last: humans were never gone. They had only been waiting. Waiting to come back. The alien fleets gathered in silence above the capital world. Their ships, shaped like shining blades and glowing with silver light, stretched across the stars. Every commander spoke in sharp tones, giving orders to prepare for battle. They thought they understood war. They thought their fleets were strong. But none of them had ever faced what was coming. The human signal did not stop. It grew louder, clearer, as if mocking their disbelief. Across every screen, across every starship, the same words echoed again. This is the Terran fleet. We have returned. Admiral Shaka, commander of the Eastern Fleet, narrowed his eyes. His people had never believed in the myth of humans. To him, this was nothing more than a trick. They are imposters, he growled. Perhaps pirates using old codes. We will crush them. But his second officer was not so sure. He looked at the readings again and again, his voice trembling. Admiral, the size of that vessel, it is unlike anything we have ever seen. No empire builds ships that large. The fleet moved forward anyway. Dozens of cruisers, armed with plasma cannons, encircled the shadow drifting in space. The alien ships glowed brightly, their engines humming with lethal energy. Against the darkness, they looked like sparks of fireflies. The shadow ship did not move. It simply floated, calm and silent. Admiral Shaka sneered. Fire warning shots. We will scare them back into the void. The first wave of fire lit the skies. Beams of plasma ripped through the dark, striking against the surface of the black warship. The explosions shook space, scattering light across the fleet. For a brief moment, the aliens cheered. Then the smoke cleared. The black warship remained untouched. Not a scratch. Not even a dent. The plasma beams had simply dissolved into its surface, absorbed like drops of rain into stone. Every alien commander froze. Silence filled their bridges. What kind of shields are those? One whispered. The second officer swallowed hard. Admiral, this is not technology we know. Before they could fire again, the black warship's engines flared. Its hull lit up with glowing blue veins, running across its body like living fire. The air in every alien ship seemed to grow heavy. The scanners screamed warnings. Then a deep hum filled the void. From the front of the human ship, a single beam of light stretched outward. But it did not fire. Instead, it swept across the alien fleet like a spotlight, scanning each ship one by one. On Admiral Shaka's bridge, alarms went off. His systems shut down, one after another. Shields failed. Weapons went offline. Engines went cold. His massive cruiser, the pride of his fleet, now drifted helplessly in space. And it was not only his. All across the fleet, ships went dark. Their systems collapsed as if a great hand had pressed a single button and silenced them all. The aliens panicked. Officers shouted. Engineers scrambled. Commanders screamed at their crews to fix the problem. But nothing worked. The warship had stripped them of their power in seconds. The voice returned. Calm. Cold. Final. We do not seek blood. We only show you our strength. Do not test us again. Every word echoed across the fleet. It was not shouted. It was not angry. It was worse than that, it was calm, as though the humans had done nothing more than swat away a fly. In the capital's council hall, leaders watched in horror as the live feed displayed their proud fleets drifting helplessly around the black warship. For the first time in centuries, they understood what fear truly meant. Elder Councillor Dravan leaned forward, his hands trembling on his staff. It cannot be, they were only myths. How could myths build this? No one answered. Back in orbit, Admiral Shaka gritted his teeth. He had fought pirates, rebels, and warlords. He had never bowed to anyone. But now, stripped of his weapons, staring into the cold silence of the human warship, he felt something he had not felt since childhood, powerless fear. The humans still did not fire. They did not destroy a single ship. They simply waited, engines glowing, watching like hunters who knew their prey could not escape. Then the void split open. Behind the first warship, another shadow emerged. Then another. Then another. Dozens of black vessels tore through hyperspace, arriving one by one. They formed a formation around the first ship, their blue lights blazing like silent stars. The alien fleet, once the hunters, now found themselves surrounded. On the council floor, voices broke into chaos. Some shouted for peace. Others demanded immediate attack. A few begged to surrender before it was too late. But no one could deny what their eyes saw. Humans were not myths. Humans were not extinct. Humans had returned with power no one in the galaxy could match. And they had come prepared. The young officer Vera, who had first noticed the signal, whispered as she watched the screens. Her voice was soft, almost a prayer. They are real. The chamber fell silent at her words. Outside, the black warships held their position. Their presence alone was enough to paralyze entire fleets. The humans spoke once more, their voice rolling across every starship, every world, every home in the galaxy. This is only the beginning. And then, silence. No more words. No more signals. Just the terrifying sight of human warships blocking out the stars. The galaxy trembled. Because legends had become real. Across the galaxy, panic spread like fire in dry grass. Reports came in from distant systems, from mining colonies to massive orbital stations. Every scanner, every communication device, carried the same message: humans were real. And they were here. No empire had ever faced this before. For centuries, stories of human strength had been dismissed as myths, tales told to frighten children or to inspire soldiers. Now, those stories walked across space like giants returned from legend. On the capital planet of HYF, the council reconvened in emergency. Leaders from every major empire arrived, their faces pale, eyes wide with disbelief. The elder councillor, Dravan, stood at the center of the chamber. His staff trembled in his hands. They are real, he whispered. All of it, every tale we laughed at, every story of war and power, true. A young diplomat shook his head. This cannot be. They vanished thousands of years ago. How could they return, and with such fleets? A historian stepped forward, her eyes wide with fear. It is not a question of how. It is a question of what they want. The records say humans were warriors unlike any other. Entire fleets fell before them. Cities crumbled. And then, they disappeared. Perhaps they left by choice. Perhaps they were exiled. No one knows for sure. Dravan raised his hands, silencing the chamber. We must prepare. If the legends are true, we cannot survive unprepared. Outside the capital, the human fleet moved with precision. The black warships, gleaming with strange blue veins, lined up in perfect formation. They did not attack. They did not fire. Their presence alone sent shivers across the galaxy. Even the most experienced alien commanders felt fear clawing at their hearts. Admiral Shaka, whose pride had been shattered by the first human vessel, tried to rally his forces. "We will fight. We have weapons. We have strategy. We will show them we are not afraid." His crew looked at him, eyes wide. Their weapons were offline. Their engines sputtered. Every system on every ship was paralyzed. Admiral Shaka clenched his fists in frustration. The humans did not need to fire a single shot to dominate them. On distant colonies, civilians watched the transmissions in horror. Children hid under tables, listening to the repeated phrase broadcast across every channel. "This is the Terran fleet. We have returned." Families whispered in fear. "It's true, humans are alive," one parent said. The stories, they were real. The council debated. Some leaders urged diplomacy, fearing total annihilation if they provoked the humans. Others demanded immediate attack, insisting the humans would never forgive the galaxy for their past. Every argument ended in fear. Every solution seemed impossible. Meanwhile, scouts sent to investigate the human ships returned with terrifying news. They reported weapons so advanced they could destroy fleets without touching them. Hulls that absorbed any attack. Technology that no alien civilization had ever imagined. One scout whispered to his commander, voice trembling, "Admiral, they are not just strong. They are perfect. They have learned, evolved, and waited for us." Across the galaxy, whispers turned into panic. Merchants refused to send fleets. Soldiers refused to fight. Even pirates, bold and reckless, hid in the shadows, fearing the legends they had once mocked. Back in the council chamber, Dravan spoke again. "We must understand them. We must know their purpose. But understand this, the legends of humans are not only true, they are far more powerful than we imagined. The galaxy trembles, and we cannot stop it." In the skies above the capital planet, the humans remained in formation. No lights blinked, no engines flared beyond their steady blue glow. They floated silently, like sentinels of history returned to life. Then a voice echoed through the galaxy. Calm. Cold. Final. "We do not seek war. But we will not allow betrayal or oppression to continue. We are here to correct the mistakes of the past." The words sent shivers down every spine. Entire councils fell silent. Soldiers dropped to their knees, not in prayer, but in fear of the legends alive before them. Distant worlds began sending envoys, desperate to make contact, desperate to find a way to survive. But the humans did not respond. They did not move. Their presence alone was a warning, a reminder of the stories that had haunted the galaxy for centuries. On one small moon, a young alien child watched the feed with wide eyes. "Are they gods?" he asked, voice trembling. His mother shook her head. "No, they are humans. But they are more than anything we have ever seen." Back in the council hall, leaders argued whether to send messages of peace or war. Every decision felt like walking on a knife's edge. Even the oldest advisors admitted they had no idea how to face these beings. And as the debate raged, the humans made their next move. Not an attack, not a speech. Just a shift in position, forming a larger, more intimidating fleet. Their warships cast shadows across dozens of systems, a physical reminder that the legends were not dead, not forgotten, they were here, and they had returned to change everything. Dravan whispered, voice shaking, "We cannot fight them. The galaxy has never seen power like this. Not in 1,000 years, not ever." The council fell into tense silence. Outside, the human fleet waited. Calm. Silent. Ready. Watching. The galaxy trembled. Because humans, once only stories, were now reality. The galaxy held its breath. The humans' fleet had stopped at the edge of the capital system, forming an unbroken line of black warships. Their glowing blue veins pulsed like the heartbeat of a sleeping giant. No laser fire, no movement, only silence. In the council hall of HFY, panic mixed with awe. Every leader and soldier watched the live feeds, their faces pale. No one dared speak at first. The human fleet's calm presence said more than words ever could. Admiral Shaka, still reeling from the fleet's initial display of power, clenched his fists. "We must establish communication. We cannot allow fear to paralyze us," he said, though his voice trembled slightly. A team of linguists and diplomats gathered quickly. They prepared the communication channels, translating dozens of languages and dialects into one universal message. The aliens' message was simple but firm. We do not wish to fight. Identify yourselves. State your purpose. Minutes stretched like hours as silence filled the system. Then, a voice answered. Not over a speaker or through a screen, but in a way that seemed to fill every corner of space. We remember your betrayal. We remember the wars. We remember the lies. We are the Terran fleet. We have returned to restore balance. The words were clear, calm, and terrifying. Even the bravest alien soldiers shivered. It was not a threat, but it carried weight heavier than any weapon. The council hall erupted in confusion. The elder Councillor Dravan slammed his staff on the floor. Balance. They speak as if they judge us. They were supposed to be gone. My ancestors never imagined they would return. A younger diplomat tried to reason. Perhaps they only want peace. Perhaps the stories of war are old, and they do not hold grudges. But others argued fiercely. Peace, one leader spat. They destroyed fleets in the past. Entire civilizations fell. They do not forgive. They do not forget. If we are not careful, we will be next. Outside the capital, the humans' fleet shifted slightly. Their warships moved as if sensing the tension, forming a larger V-shaped formation, enclosing the planet below in an unmistakable warning. Admiral Shaka ordered his ships to retreat slightly, but the human fleet mirrored their movements perfectly, blocking every path. They did not attack, but the message was clear. The humans controlled the battlefield without firing a single shot. The aliens sent an envoy ship toward the human fleet, carrying diplomats and scientists. The vessel glided silently, approaching the nearest black warship. Screens on the council floor showed every detail. The warship's hull, perfectly black, smooth as glass, with blue veins glowing softly along its sides. As the envoy drew closer, a strange energy pulse radiated from the human ship. Sensors went haywire. Engines stalled. Communication systems flickered. The envoy's captain gritted her teeth, trying to maintain control. Every tool, every machine, seemed powerless before the human warship. Then, without warning, a projection appeared above the warship. A single human figure, tall and imposing, with black armor that reflected the faint glow of distant stars. His face was obscured by a helmet, but his voice echoed across space, in perfect alien tongue. We do not seek war. But we will not tolerate oppression, betrayal, or lies. The galaxy has forgotten history. We have not. This ends now. The council members stared, frozen. The words were simple, yet every syllable carried authority, experience, and an unshakable resolve. One young officer whispered to her neighbor, voice trembling. He sounds like the stories. Like the legends. The ones that destroyed entire fleets. Another council member, an elder with scales like molten metal, shook his head in disbelief. Impossible, myths do not return. Not in flesh and steel. Not in fleets larger than entire empires. The human commander continued, calm but firm. We do not strike without reason. We offer a choice, recognize the past, respect the balance, or face consequences. History is not forgotten. Legends are not lies. The words struck deep into every mind present. For centuries, humans had been erased from records, dismissed as extinct. Yet here they were, alive, powerful, and in control of the galaxy's strongest fleet. Admiral Shaka felt his chest tighten. His pride, once unshakable, crumbled. We cannot fight them, he admitted quietly. Our weapons, our fleets, useless. They do not need to strike. They already control everything. The envoy ship hovered near the human warship, powerless, waiting for further instructions. It was a symbolic gesture, a show of diplomacy, but also a warning. If the aliens misstepped, even by a single action, the humans could destroy everything. The human commander spoke again, his voice calm and precise. Prepare your leaders. Inform your councils. The Terran fleet will not allow lies to continue. The galaxy must remember who we are. And then the projection vanished. The human warship's glow dimmed slightly, and it drifted silently, yet every ship in the alien fleets felt its presence like a living shadow. The council hall fell silent. No one moved. No one spoke. For the first time in recorded history, every leader, every soldier, every civilian watching through transmissions understood the terrifying truth: humans were not gone. Humans were never myths. Humans had returned. And their return was only the beginning. Outside, the Terran fleet waited. Calm. Silent. Watching. Patient. The galaxy trembled. Because the legends had come alive. The alien fleets hovered in space, frozen and powerless. Every ship that had once been the pride of their empires now drifted like broken toys, systems dead, engines cold. Silence filled the void, thick, heavy, and terrifying. The humans' fleet remained in perfect formation, black warships glowing with their eerie blue veins. Not a single weapon fired, yet their dominance was absolute. The aliens realized that power did not always roar. Sometimes, it simply existed and everyone else fell into its shadow. Admiral Shaka could barely speak. How can this be?" he whispered. His pride, his knowledge, and his experience meant nothing here. His fleet, trained for decades, armed with the best technology the galaxy had to offer, had been rendered useless without a single human shot fired. A young officer, Vera, who had first discovered the human signal, stared at the monitors. Her fingers trembled as she adjusted the sensors again and again, trying to understand the impossible. They can control everything," she said, voice barely audible. "Not by shooting. Not by destroying, but by being perfect. Their technology, it's beyond comprehension." From the command deck of the human warship, a single figure observed the alien fleet. His black armor reflected the distant stars, his movements calm and precise. He spoke once, not in anger, but in measured warning. "We do not strike without reason. But understand this, any aggression against us will be met with consequences far greater than you can imagine. We do not need to kill to win." The alien commanders panicked. They had faced pirates, rebels, and entire insurgent armies. They had seen destruction that could level cities. But this was different. No ship could attack. No weapon could fire. Every system, every engine, every shield seemed to bend to the humans' control. Admiral Shaka's fingers hovered over the controls, useless. His voice shook as he addressed his crew. We cannot fight. Everything we know, it fails. Retreat is impossible. We are trapped." And yet, the humans still did not fire. They did not destroy a single ship. They only demonstrated their power. It was a warning, not a war. From the capital planet below, Councillor Dravan watched the live feed. His voice trembled as he whispered to the assembly, "Legends are not just stories, they are warnings. The humans do not need to attack. They only need to exist." In the outer colonies, alien soldiers and civilians alike stared at transmissions from the system. Entire fleets had been dispatched to confront the Terran fleet, yet none had returned. Reports came of ships losing power, drifting helplessly, unable to move, unable to fire. Fear spread faster than light across the galaxy. And then, the humans made their next demonstration. One human warship rose slightly above the formation. Its engines flared, and a wave of energy expanded outward, not destructive, but visible on every sensor. Every alien fleet in the sector trembled as their systems were scanned and catalogued. Every weak point, every vulnerability, every weapon failure was mapped instantly by the human fleet. The aliens realized the terrifying truth: the humans did not just have power. They had knowledge. They understood their enemies completely. They could dismantle fleets without firing a single shot, simply by knowing what to disable, where, and how. Admiral Shaka swallowed hard. They do not just fight. They dominate, without fighting. On the human command ship, the commander's voice echoed across space. Calm, precise, commanding. "We do not seek conquest. We do not seek war. But we will not allow lies, betrayal, or oppression to continue. The galaxy must remember the truth of humans. History is not forgotten. Balance will be restored. The alien fleets trembled at the words. They had fought wars over borders, over resources, over pride. They had never known power like this, power that required neither blood nor fire, yet commanded absolute obedience. On one small moon, a young alien child watched the live feed with wide eyes. They are perfect, he whispered. Stronger than anything we imagined, stronger than legends. His mother shook her head. Not perfect, humans. They are more than that. They are everything the galaxy has feared and forgotten. The council chamber erupted in argument. Some urged immediate surrender, while others shouted for attack, refusing to bow to fear. But no weapon could fire, no fleet could move, and no plan would succeed. The humans' presence alone rendered centuries of strategy useless. Vera, still at her console, spoke quietly to herself. We thought humans were extinct, that they were myths. We were wrong. They waited. And now they are here. The humans did not speak again. They did not need to. Their presence said everything. Every warship, every blue vein glowing softly in the void, conveyed power, patience, and authority. Admiral Shaka finally lowered his head. We are nothing before them, he admitted aloud. Our fleets, our weapons, our empires, powerless. We are shadows. They are the sun. And across the galaxy, the message spread. The humans were not only alive. They were dominant. They were legends returned. And the galaxy understood the terrifying truth: humans did not need to strike to prove their power. Their power was absolute, visible, undeniable. The legends were no longer stories. They were reality. The Terran fleet waited. Calm. Silent. Watching. The black warships of the Terran fleet hovered silently above the alien capital planet. Their blue veins pulsed slowly, like the heartbeat of a sleeping giant. Every alien fleet that had once dominated this sector now drifted helplessly, engines dead, weapons offline. The galaxy watched in awe and terror. Inside the council hall, silence had replaced chaos. The leaders, soldiers, and diplomats stared at the live feed in disbelief. The humans had arrived, and their power was undeniable. The myths were true. The legends were alive. Elder Councillor Dravan shook his head. They are real. Every story, every warning, every tale we dismissed as legend, true. The younger diplomats whispered nervously, glancing at each other. They control everything, without firing a shot. How can this be? Outside, the Terran fleet shifted. Warships moved with precision, forming a perfect formation around the planet. Their presence alone was a warning. They had the ability to crush the world beneath them if they wished. Then, a single human vessel detached from the formation and descended toward the planet. Its engines flared softly, illuminating the surface with a calm, steady light. Citizens across the planet watched in awe as the warship landed. Soldiers who had once trained for decades to defend the world now froze in place. From the ship's hatch, humans in black armor stepped down. Their movements were calm and controlled. Each soldier was perfectly disciplined, their presence radiating confidence and authority. The alien onlookers could not tear their eyes away. The legends had walked out of stories and into reality. One young alien child whispered to his mother, voice trembling. They are real. Just like the stories. His mother nodded silently, unable to speak. Fear and awe filled every fiber of her being. The human commander stepped forward. Tall, imposing, his helmet reflecting the faint light of the distant stars. He raised a hand, not in aggression, but in recognition. His voice carried across communication channels, calm yet commanding. We do not come for conquest. We do not come for war. We are here to restore balance. The galaxy has forgotten history. We have not. Every alien leader listened, hearts pounding. They realized this was no threat. Yet, at the same time, it was the clearest warning they had ever received. Humans had returned not to ask, but to demand recognition of the truth. Admiral Shaka lowered his head, finally understanding the full extent of human power. We cannot fight them. Our weapons, our fleets, nothing can match this. His voice trembled. We have only shadows against the sun. The humans did not fire. They did not attack. They did not need to. Their presence alone dominated every ship, every soldier, every citizen. Their fleet's sheer size and precision sent a message louder than any weapon. The galaxy had no choice but to acknowledge their return. The alien council sent envoys to meet the humans, hoping for negotiation, hoping to survive this moment. The human commander met them with the same calm authority, his words measured and final. We offer no conquest, only justice. Learn from history, respect the balance, and remember the past. Ignore this, and you will face consequences you cannot imagine. The envoys nodded nervously, understanding that negotiation was not just wise, it was necessary. The humans did not need to fight to assert dominance. Their knowledge, strategy, and discipline alone were more powerful than any fleet or weapon the galaxy possessed. Back on the planet's surface, ordinary citizens watched the unfolding events. They had never believed in humans, but now, reality exceeded any story. Humans were not merely strong, they were legends, returned to remind the galaxy of their existence. Councillor Dravan stepped forward, trembling, his staff clutched tightly. We must learn from them. We must recognize the truth. The legends are alive. Vera, the young officer who had first detected the human signal, whispered to herself, "We thought humans were gone, myths, stories, but they waited. They were never gone. They were only preparing." The human fleet slowly withdrew from direct orbit, their presence still dominant. The message was clear: humans did not seek unnecessary destruction, but they would not tolerate disrespect or lies. Their return was a warning, a lesson, and a declaration all in one. Across the galaxy, the effects were immediate. Fleets paused their patrols. Colonies halted mining operations. Entire empires reconsidered their strategies. The legends of humans were no longer tales, they were reality, shaping the galaxy anew. A child on a distant world whispered to her father, "Are they gods?" Her father shook his head. "No, they are humans. But they are everything we feared and hoped for. They are more than legends, they are truth made real." The human commander gave a final order. The fleet aligned once more, ready to move if necessary. Calm, patient, yet absolute in authority. The galaxy knew the message: humanity had returned, and the legends of the past were no longer stories, they were alive, standing among the stars. The council on HYF bowed in understanding. Not in submission, but in acknowledgement. Humans had returned to remind the galaxy of history, of power, and of truth. The myths were real, the legends were true, and the galaxy would never be the same again. And the Terran fleet waited. Silent. Watching. Patient. Because the legends had become reality. The galaxy trembled. And history remembered humans not as myths, but as the unstoppable force they had always been.